putting out a call for help because we're up against 21st Century Fox. Welcome to SkyWatchTV for Wednesday, February 10th, 2016. I'm Derek Gilbert. A special update today. Welcoming in studio my best friend and wife, Sharon K. Gilbert.
Hi, honey.
And the director of the documentary film Inhuman. The next and final phase of man is here, Joe Artis. Joe, welcome.
Hey, Derek. Good to be here with you guys.
Representing Inhuman.
Yes.
As an example for you all of this is really
He's
something.
a wolf man.
That's true. I got to show everybody. I don't know if you can see that, but since my segment in the movie dealt with, genetics and wolf DNA and things of that nature, I had to wear my wolf T-shirt.
Very appropriate. Very appropriate. And Wolf beats Fox, so we should be in good shape there.
Yeah.
Let's hope so.
Well, bigger than
it's
Fox.
the 37th annual Telly Awards, and
Yes.
the documentary film Inhuman has been nominated in the non-broadcast productions category. And the judges are adjudicating their own section, but there's also a People's Choice Award in these categories as well, and that's why we're calling on viewers of SkyWatch TV, because the time to vote is relatively narrow window. And I was looking at some of these other categories, or some of the other entries here. There are, let's see, 3, 6, 20, math, about 30 entries altogether. But 21st Century Fox, News Corp, has an entry in this dealing with what's the building that replaced the World Trade Center?
One tower,
Yeah.
Freedom Tower.
Right, so they've got that in there. And there are several entries in here that are essentially like long-form commercials or infomercials for major defense contractors.
Right.
Dealing with electronic weapons systems and stuff.
Yeah.
And then there's a commercial in here for the U.S. Open tennis championship. So
Wow.
It's stiff competition.
it is. So I'm thinking 21st Century Fox, and here we are. We've got a film coming out of this little town in the Missouri Ozarks.
Yeah.
So the thing that really impressed me about this work, that you did the camera work, some of the editing, of course, the editing for the most part done by our friend Gan Shimura.
Yes.
It is really a high-quality production.
We've had a lot of really good feedback from some great people. Paul McGuire watched the film. He said that if he had the opportunity to rate it as many stars as possible, he would. They've done features at his ministry. Lots and lots of emails coming in from people at SkyWatch that have purchased the movie, saying it was graphically beautiful, that it was engaging, and the way that Gans put the images together was very appealing, very easy to watch.
It's also scientifically accurate. Tom was good enough to invite experts from all sorts of fields, because transhumanism is way more than just science. It's a philosophy. It's a way of life. It's becoming a religion to some.
It is, yes.
So
Absolutely.
it's got a lot of little heads attached to the same transhuman body. But he brought a lot of folks in and gave them an opportunity to share exactly how they felt about it. May not have reflected his opinion at all, but he was, I think, as fair and balanced as one could be. But I get emails every day too, and we loved it. I've shown it to our church. We've shown it to our Sunday school group in segments, because it's a 3-hour movie. It's a 3-hour tour, in fact. But it's a wonderful movie, and I am so proud that I got to be part of this, because this is not only to the church, this is a message to every human being on earth.
Exactly. And that's the key point. This is a 21st century religion. And to be perfectly honest, and I want to make this point really clear, the reason we're asking for your help in voting, and we'll show you how in just a few moments, in the People's Choice Award for the Telly Awards, is not because we care about winning an award for an award's sake. It's because the topic of transhumanism is so important to the church right now that we want the word to get out. And to be quite honest, in the way of the world, if we can say this is an award-winning film, it will suddenly carry more credibility with those who aren't already in the choir.
Right.
It's one thing to tell people who are already on board, people who followed your father's work, Tom Horn's work for years, already familiar with the transhumanist agenda. People who followed our little ministry for years are familiar with this. But there are people out there who don't understand why this is an important topic and why it needs to be addressed by the Christian church right now. So we're looking at this as another opportunity to get the word out about a topic that I had the opportunity to address a college graduate level course on technology last fall, actually this spring, last spring. I forgot we flipped over the calendar year.
And it's 2016.
2016,
honey.
okay.
There you go.
There we go. So the implant isn't kicked in yet.
He's kidding.
But the students, for the most part, had never heard the term transhumanism. And there was a young Christian woman in the class who asked a very good question, which is, why does this matter? We've got the Islamic State slaughtering Christians across the Middle East. Why should we even care about this? The Islamic State and groups like them have been oppressing Christians for 2,000 years. It began the day after Jesus died on the cross. The oppression of Christians has been a constant around the world for 2 millennia. The transhumanist movement promises to change what it means to be human. This is a sea change in human history.
Right. This idea that science, for those that aren't familiar with the words transhumanism, the truncated explanation that I'll give real quick is this idea that scientists now believe that they've discovered ways to genetically modify what it means to be a human being in an effort to make, quote unquote, the human species, and for that matter now animals, better than what God designed originally. That we can be faster, we can process information quicker, that we can do more, that we're stronger. This idea that we can genetically modify ourselves to be superior from what we are right now. But as Sharon, of course, in the film so eloquently outlines along with Tom, that the ramifications to what that could mean to the human species as well as animals in the future, there may not be any putting the genie back in the bottle. And they're doing these experiments now.
Right. I'm sorry. I was just wanted to follow up on that. What bothers me the most about this is that it's being sold as a choice. I want to modify myself. That we see that all over the news now. I envision myself as being this or that. Therefore, I should have the freedom to choose to be that, and you need to respect my choice to be that. Transhumanism is way more than I get to choose. This is all about you get to choose for your kids and grandkids.
Right.
They're planning on, the ultimate plan is to upgrade humanity through science, and it will go down the line. Either you will not get to bear kids because you're not good enough, you haven't, taken the upgrade, or if you want a license to bear kids, it's because you have allowed us to change you and make you better. Therefore, each new generation to the transhumanists will be one step closer to the perfect human being.
In other words, this is 21st century eugenics.
Absolutely. This is also 21st century, I want to live for eternity.
Yes.
Because that's where the religious part comes in. If you don't have the faith in Jesus Christ, if you don't believe that you're going to a better eternity when you die, then you're terrified of death. So what better way to do than just avoid it?
Exactly. Yes. It's basically a religion that begins with the assumption that there is no God. And so mankind must become as gods in order to achieve immortality, salvation.
Yeah.
It is apotheosis, the oldest lie in the book. Ye shall be as gods.
Yeah. Have you seen the movie Transcendence?
Is that the one with Johnny Depp?
Johnny Depp. If you haven't seen it, it's a really good one because it in many ways, he is supposed to be Ray Kurzweil.
Right.
Because he and his wife are scientists who believe in transhumanism, and they are in many ways presented as the new Adam and Eve. I won't spoil it for you, but just take it from me. At the same time, it's showing that those of us who are against it are just really not very nice people.
Yeah.
Right.
But it also shows that there are people who fear it. Those who are embracing it are viewed as being more egalitarian and more spiritual and really having mankind's best interests at heart. As Christians, what we should have at heart and our mission is to spread the love of Jesus Christ.
Right.
Lift up Christ, crucified, resurrected, and coming again. If you believe in evolution and self-directed evolution, if you believe that science is the answer to mankind's spiritual woes, you're in big trouble.
I just want to add something too, Derek, for those that aren't sure whether or not they're interested in seeing the Inhuman documentary. It's 3 hours in length. It's actually 3 hours and about 10 minutes in length, 2 discs. So there's 2 DVDs inside the case. And what is really unique to the Inhuman project was that this was a multi-year investigation, multi-year project. And what we did that was very unique to Inhuman that nobody, to our knowledge, has ever done before is that we did include Bible theologians. We did include some of the smartest thinkers on planet Earth, in my opinion, like Gary Stearman and Chuck Missler talking about the biblical ramifications of what this scientific movement is attempting to do. But we also sat down with the most well-known transhumanists on planet Earth, and they were gracious enough to sit down with us and in their own words describe to us where they believe this technology already is and where it's headed next. Natasha Vitamore, I believe the Washington, was it the Washington Times, said she was the first real world leading transhumanist philosopher female. She sat down with us.
And she's the chairperson of H+, Humanity Plus, which was formerly known as the World Transhumanist Association.
Right.
So she's not just somebody that you found on the internet.
Exactly. Well, her husband,
Max Moore.
Sorry. Her husband, Max Moore,
Took me a second, too. Don't worry about that.
I've been talking about the guy for like 6 years, and then I draw a blank. But he's considered largely to be the father of transhumanism. He was one of the first visionaries that even started projecting the idea that this could be done. But we sat down with some of the most well-known transhumanists on planet Earth, and we filmed them in their own world views, presenting their own case about how they believe that the science can improve who we are, and we believe that in their worldview, to them, it makes sense.
Yeah.
If you don't subscribe to a biblical worldview, if you don't necessarily believe that God is a creator and that He put genetic boundaries in between species and barriers as to which not to cross, that for them, this is the next step to a utopia.
Right, right. And it makes sense. It's understandable. Their worldview is understandable when you begin with the premise, the faulty premise, of course, that there is no God, there is no life everlasting. I mean, we are all eternal beings. It just, our final destination is unsure until we make that decision to accept Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior. But even if we set that aside, again, coming back to the question of the eugenics aspect of the transhumanist movement, and who will be allowed to upgrade and who will not be allowed to upgrade and why, what differences, there are some real problems with the movement, even if you take the theology out of it, because as past utopian movements have shown, it's never egalitarian. Somebody's going to have to make a decision as to who gets to upgrade and who doesn't get to upgrade. And if everybody gets to upgrade, then you've got the potential for the next Adolf Hitler or Stalin or Kublai Khan or whatever to be upgraded to nearly godlike omniscience.
Right.
And essentially, if you upgrade the entire planet to radically extend human life without regenerating the heart, and eliminating the problem of sin, essentially, you've created a recipe, in my view, for hell, not heaven.
Well, it's the very reason that God kicked Adam and Eve out of Eden, out of paradise, because He did not want them to have eternal life in that fallen state.
Exactly.
This not only talks, though, about genetics and what's being called neo-evolution or self-directed evolution. You can call it a lot of different things, but it is neo-eugenics as far as I'm concerned. But it also talks about artificial intelligence and how robotics and the merging of man with machine is taking place in front of our very eyes.
Yep.
Every day I see an article about how robots are becoming more and more accustomed. We're becoming accustomed to them. They're being integrated into our daily lives. In 10 years, seriously, in 10 years, major cities will have robots roaming the corridors of every upscale hotel. And they will be self-driving cars on the streets.
Yes.
Robots will be part
trucks,
of our daily lives. And they are those who actually advocate not only hybridizing with machines, but becoming an artificial intelligence software program, essentially uploading your consciousness and yours and mine, if we, qualified, which we wouldn't, to the machine, so that we can become part of the singular idea, the cosmic conscience, the hive mind. That is terrifying.
Yes.
And that sounds very much like the last 7 years of life as we know it, with an Antichrist figure in charge.
Every time you start talking about that, I just remember that scene from Star Trek The Next Generation where Picard comes on screen and talking to his former crew, I am Locutus of Borg.
Yes.
You will be assimilated.
Yes.
From this day forward, you will serve us.
And the Borg, if you're not familiar with the Star Trek Next Generation storyline, they start out as just regular human babies, but they are merged with machine parts as they grow.
And become part of the collective.
Yes.
No individual free will. Well, that's why we're asking for your help in voting for the People's Choice Award for Inhuman, the film, at the Telly Awards website. Now, the easiest way to do this is go to skywatchtv.com. At the very top of the page is a banner that links directly to the site where you can vote. It takes a couple of clicks. You'll need to log in with a Facebook ID or
I think it's,
Google Plus.
There are several social media
several
options.
social media ways that you can do this. And you can also then share that so that your friends and colleagues are aware of this as well. There's a limited time to vote. And actually, to be quite honest, there's a little confusion as to how much time there is. So I would recommend doing it right away so that you don't wait. And because my tendency is I don't have to do it right now. I've got a deadline that's a few weeks in the future. I'll do it later when I have more time, and then I forget and never, tomorrow never comes, So
I'm the worst procrastinator ever. Do it now. The minute you watch this, go right to the link, go to the website, and rate it. Just help us out because, again, as Derek said, we're not really clear what the window is. It could be anywhere from 5 days, and that started on the 8th of February. So
Monday.
That ends this weekend, or 4 weeks. So we don't know. But if you do it today, regardless of when it does end, you'll be in time. So.
Yeah. Well, we sure appreciate your assistance on that. And again, it's not because we want to win the award, but we would like to win the award so that we can help get the word out to Christians who are not yet aware of this topic, and hopefully also to bridge the gap between those with a Christian worldview and those who have an anti-Christian or just atheistic worldview, who believe that their salvation will be through a test tube or on a silicon chip. Heaven is not on a silicon chip. God is real, and he's coming back, and coming soon. Joe, it's been an honor to be a part of this project. Sweetheart, I'm so proud of the job that you did on that video, on that film.
Team effort. It really was. So many
Big time.
people worked on that, and it's just a beautiful film.
Yeah, and if someone had told us a year ago that someday you'd be working for an institution, an organization that would be competing against 21st Century Fox for an award, I would have laughed out loud. And in fact, it is pretty funny when you think about it. Well, we'll be talking about this in days to come, and of course, you'll see more information about this on our website and our Facebook page. But we appreciate your help, and we thank you for watching as we keep watch. For Joe Artis and Sharon Gilbert, I'm Derek Gilbert, and this is SkyWatch TV.